£4,696. That's how much it costs me for a yearly ticket to London. That's the cheapest option, to travel approximately 40 miles each way, making it not only the most expensive commute per mile in England, but the world. Coming up to 10 years of commuting, I've always begrudgingly paid for either a yearly or monthly ticket in my adult career. Most people, including myself, would justify this by saying something along the lines of, you get a London wage. But that's generally bullcrap, right? When I first started in London, after tax, over a quarter of my wage went on greater angular travel. I'm not even including parking, petrol, insurance, road tax, etc. And I know people earning similar wages to what I did back then who still pay unjustifiable amounts on their commute each year. Us Brits love to complain, but when it comes to any type of action, we generally avoid confrontation. And that's probably why we're so good at queuing. So I've recently had a dreadful experience with greater angular travel, and as a British person, did I make a complaint? Of course I did, in the form of a very long email. I spent a good few train journeys wording the email not to come across too irrational or over the top, only to be flat out ignored. I think most of us Brits would be satisfied with a 3-page moan and maybe a sarcastic tweet to greater angular. But as someone who makes videos about just about anything, I thought I'd share my experience. What I'll do is I'll read my email, which explains the story, removing any personal information. Take what I say with a pinch of salt. This is my experience. I'm sure Greater Angular do well in many other aspects other than travel. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, share, subscribe to the channel, but without further ado, here's my email. Dear Greater Angular team, firstly I want to apologise for this long email. I'm aware that the person reading this email made none of the decisions that made me have such a terrible experience. A slightly altered version of this email was sent to the appeals service. Despite getting a refund, all my points were completely ignored. My name is Ryan. I've been a customer of yours since 2011, primarily travelling from Essex to London for work. I haven't been able to put an exact number on how much I've spent on greater angular travel over the last 9 years, but I'd estimate well over £30,000. On the 6th of February 2020, for the first time in 9 years, I forgot my wallet. So I had no season ticket, bank cards or ID or anything. I explained the situation to one of the staff at the gate, who referred me to a ticket inspector. Hello, I've paid for a monthly ticket to Whittam to London, but my wallet's at home. Having no money on me, I was issued with the penalty fare for £48, which I'm assuming I'll have to pay the next time I get a ticket. So according to the penalty fare notice, I must provide an explanation to why I didn't have a ticket. I haven't got an excuse to why I forgot my wallet, as it's about the size of a brick. Some people have deemed said wallet to be a purse and others a lethal weapon. However, this is a story for another time and I'm digressing. The closest thing to a reason would be I recently started a new job in London doing some rather long hours. Having less than 5 hours sleep followed by a 12-hour shift left me somewhat mentally impaired. I didn't notice until I got to the gates my wallet was missing. I don't know if that's a good enough explanation. During my time using your trains, it's cost me thousands of hours of my life due to delays. Excuses such as, just to name a few, train drivers missing their shift, trains missing the train stop, overrunning engineering work, cold weather, travellers stealing the overhead wires, and one of my personal favourites, leaves on the track. And I'm generally lucky to get £5 from the delay repay scheme, which costs people thousands of hours of their time. So am I right to say people make mistakes and some things are out of people's control? I'm now having to write a long email to justify this, and I feel Greater Angular has gone out of their way to make the appeal as difficult as possible, which brings me to my next point. How to appeal. Appeals must be in writing and cannot be made by the telephone, or you can download the form and return by fax. So firstly, my handwriting is between a doctor's and a 4-year-old. I got a job working with computers, so I didn't ever have to use my handwriting. And if I had handwritten a copy of this email, you'd need to hire a forensic document examiner just to read the header. And fax? Fax? The fax machine was created in 1843, and I feel moronic pointing this out, but it's 2020. Who owns a fax in this day and age? I have a hunch you've made this as difficult as possible for the layperson to appeal. Similar with the delay repay scheme, there is so much potential to streamline the process, but I'm confident in saying that these have both been designed to be as tedious as possible. Why is this so outdated? Even if this is an external provider out of your control, I'm sure Greater Angular could make the decision to make it easier for your customers. And the next point. From a quick Google search, the Ipswich to London track, the line that I'm part of, is the UK's most expensive trip per mile, and London commuting is the most expensive journeys in the world. I don't understand how Greater Angular can justify these prices. I've been to Japan to travel on the bullet trains, and they were effectively a quarter of the price. I've seen next to no innovation in the last 9 years that I've been travelling with you. Train times are no faster, we still see cancellations for silly reasons, and the newer trains are more uncomfortable, and the journey is noticeably more bumpy. How can Greater Angular justify the constant increase of the price of a ticket, well above inflation rate? So I'm pulling metrics from Google here. The average salary of someone that works in the City of London is £48,000 and 23 pence. Let's be clear, this metric is a mean average, which is skewed by the top earners. As a 28-year-old, I know people my age earning just over half of this in the City of London, and the annual season ticket for me is £4,696. Can you please explain how Greater Angular can justify charging almost 10% of someone's salary? Sorry, I've gone off tangent there as I never really explained my experience. After a 12-hour day at work, and despite the £48 fee, upon my return journey to the station, I found out I couldn't travel, and that £48.40 was a one-way ticket. And this was news to me. The staff were refusing to let me on the train, leaving me essentially stranded in London, and despite explaining this multiple times to multiple people that I had no wallet and I couldn't pay for another ticket, but I did have my phone with me with photo proof that I had a ticket, including the photo ID. Both the guards and the customer service agreed that the process was ruthless, and I was given the option to contact someone else to make a payment for me to travel. This was around 10 o'clock at night, and attempted to make several phone calls. I wasn't able to get hold of anyone, and again I explained this to the customer service team. They told me, unofficially, if I waited till 11 o'clock there would be nobody on the kiosk or the ticket barriers, and I could travel through. The fact that your own staff members would tell me to sneak on the trains past 11 suggests even they don't think the current process is justifiable. I've written parts of this email on and off my train journeys, so I thought I'd bullet point the main points I wanted answers on. So why is the penalty fare so difficult? Who owns a fax? Who handwrites anything these days? Why are the process so tedious? Why is the Ipswich to London Liverpool Street the most expensive line? And why is the increase well above inflation? Has there been any innovation over the last 9 years? Is £4,696 justifiable? Why did I have to wait an hour before I could essentially sneak onto the train, as advised by your staff? So, just to make this clear, I was refunded the penalty fare. This email was just a rant against the process and procedure, cost, etc. of the Greater Angular service. Kind regards, Ryan. So, this is the response I got from Greater Angular. Dear Ryan, thank you for contacting Greater Angular. I am too sorry to read that you have incurred a penalty fare due to having forgotten your wallet at home. I can appreciate that these things can happen, especially as you've mentioned you've been working long hours. Unfortunately, Greater Angular is refrained from involvement in any decision made regarding appeals or penalty fares. I would like to advise you that any appeals in relation to penalty fares are to be directed to the Independent Revenue Collection and Support (IRCAS), who will then investigate this for you further. I've provided the contact details for you below. So all the points in my email were completely ignored, hence I'm making this video. I'm more unaware that this video is just a big rant, and I thought I'd ask the internet on their thoughts and opinions. Am I being pedantic? Are the costs justifiable? How could we make the price more affordable? Neighbouring lines cost almost half the price of Greater Angular. Does anyone have any similar situations? Greater Angular, if you are able to watch this far, please can I get a response? I'm even happy to make it into a video for you if that would help. Thank you for watching, Ryan.